Excuse me.
As we dip onto our next series, it's our first quarterfinal of the evening, and so still a best of 3, but a much more intense best of 3 is what I'm predicting here compared to what we've had so far. As we spawn to altitude, we're in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in the top right-hand corner. We have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He is the brightest of the pro gamers, representing on-site gaming, OSG. The only representative of OSG for tonight, he is Solar Battle.
One does not simply walk into the Death Star.
Oh.
That's what I got.
As
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna lie, I was thinking of Game of Thrones memes,
okay.
but I think I just threw all of them out of my memory. For good reason.
Fair enough. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of altitude, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. It is Creator.
As start the damn pod race. Before I don't even remember how it goes.
What are you saying right now? I don't even know what you're saying.
That was from like season 1. Bobby B. Start the damn joust.
Oh, there you go.
I don't even remember how. I don't even remember the end of that sentence. So yeah, yeah. Game of Thrones has just all been thrown out.
There you go. Did you end up watching the new one, the new spin-off series?
I heard it's really good, which is why I refuse to watch it.
Is it good? I heard there's the prequel Lord of the Rings series that came out, and there's a prequel Game of Thrones, and one of them's good and one of them's bad.
The people are saying that the Lord of the Rings one is bad.
Yeah.
And the Game of Thrones one is good.
There you go.
So I refuse to. Well, it is a prequel.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'll also have people being like, "No, it's an adaptation of the prequel." So, you know.
Huh. Look, I'm adverse to prequels.
Because
I've been scarred too much, too often. It's over. Oh god. But when it comes to this game, I'm not scarred. I'm oh god. Let's not get into that, mate. Let's not get into that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see if Creator goes for a very similar style here against Solar. We're on altitude once again, and we saw how greedy Creator can be here. But the difference being that, unlike Su, I do feel like if Solar catches wind of this, if Creator does try to cut corners once again, Solar would be willing to punish and even cripple Creator before he can really get going.
Yeah, unlike Su, Solar's been here the entire time. He has been kind of fine-tuned to spot these little inconsistencies in his opponent's builds and unit composition. So I 100% agree with you, Light. As long as Solar is able to catch wind of any weirdness from Creator, I think he is going to be able to punish that much, much more effectively and much, much more decisively. Once he realizes, wait a minute, you're getting a third base with only 2 gateways. I'm just going to send all my lings over there.
Yeah.
Then that's going to be difficult for Creator to deal with, to say the least. As already, his opening has not worked out. He's lost both of his adepts, only taking out a handful. His adepts have only taken out 1 drone. This Oracle is working overtime, but even then, he's only been able to take out 3 more.
There we go, only 3 drones going down. Meanwhile, just like game number 1 against Su on altitude, we see Creator going for a follow-up Void Ray as well, but the Lynx are distracting the Void Ray, and the Overlord is making its way back home, hoping to try and somehow escape the wrath of this Void Ray. Third base is being thrown down, and we'll keep an eye on things here as we are continuing Oracle production once again from Creator.
It's actually intense watching an Overlord without Pneumatized Carapace try to make it back. Try to make it back home, you know, it's like that dream where you're running away from something, but you're in slow motion.
Yeah, you're like stuck in the mud or something, you know, it's just, you can't escape the inevitable, and you wake up and your pants are gone. It happens. It happens. But yeah,
I thought that was just normal. You know, your pants being gone by the morning. It doesn't matter what dream you have.
Shaking my head as, yeah, once again, we do have the same opener here from Creator. We have the Robo into the Forge. This will be delaying the Twilight Council. This will be delaying a Charge or Blink, whichever Creator decides to go for. And yeah, he's looking to try and focus a little more on teching up, less so on being assertive on the map.
Yeah, which, again, is pretty interesting. Similar to what happened in our previous series, I would have expected Solo to be a lot more active than he is being right now, but I guess he does still want to make sure he has a good enough economy. He did catch wind of these oracles, is able to take out one of them, which is going to be a lot less annoying, but yeah, it does mean that his economy has been delayed a little bit, his army has been delayed a little bit, or his army supply, I should say, has been delayed a little bit. But now he should be working to a very solid economy and a much more active style here on the map.
Yeah, exactly. We already have our fourth base on the way for Solar. He's going to be saturating everything. We have Evo chambers as well. Lings are being as active as they can, just catching wind or getting an eye on what Creator is up to, but nothing too major yet. I do think that Solar is going to be looking to just saturate his bases first before really committing to any kind of major push.
Which should be happening pretty soon. Solar's on a very healthy 70 worker count, and he's already got his lair up and running. It's gonna take a little while for him to really grab his lair tech, but that's a lot of roaches in production. That's Galal Reconstitution already about halfway done. Creator is gonna have to get a defense up and running sooner rather than later.
Really will. At the same time, the Lings do go for a bit of a counterattack. They get eyes on the third base. They check and confirm that there is no fourth Nexus yet either. And yeah, with this Solar, he's able to force Creator back home. The entire army does turn back around. And Solar, as you mentioned, he's done droning. He is making nothing but roaches right now. We'll see if that continues to be the case here, or if he does decide to saturate his fourth.
Yeah, he's got a lot of possibilities going his way. As Creator now is starting to transition to his I say mid-game, but for Creator, it really is his late-game army composition. Double Robo Bay has been thrown down. Oh. One of them's got to be a misclick.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be another Robo instead, as we actually do have a second Robo on the way alongside 2 Robotics Bays. So we'll see if we do catch wind of that, maybe Creator being a little bit nervous, as Solar hasn't been droning for the past couple of minutes. He's making nothing but roachling. His queens are waddling across the map as well. This is what we were talking about. Solar, he recognizes how greedy his opponent has been. Look at how small the army of Creator is right now.
It is absolutely tiny. He's going to be relying a lot on these shield batteries and battery overcharge, but even then it can only go so far once roaches and ravagers climb on top of it.
Yeah,
there's one immortal.
There's only one immortal. We do see Solo trying to come in from behind. We do have a massive amount of stalkers available as well, but as you were saying, only one immortal, but we do have to respect that overcharge.
And the overcharge is surprisingly standing strong. It has now run out, but Solar's been able to survive. Creator's been able to survive the initial onslaught of Zerg coming from Solar. That was an unfortunate purification Nova.
Yeah,
but in the end, Creator's pushing this back.
He is holding on. The Disruptor did go down, but Solar is losing his queens. We get a little bit of wait and see there. Hopefully everything is okay.
Oof. Fingers crossed here across your Ethernet cord. Says, I was worried that Creator was going to overextend a little bit, but no, he realizes I just have to chase this army down to the middle of the map, and then after that I say that, but he does the opposite. He was retreating for a second, but yeah, I guess he sees an opportunity, and he's looking to make use of that. He still shouldn't be pushing across the map, though. He pushes across the map.
He is pushing out across the map, as you were saying. The Immortal is left a little bit exposed, but thankfully we do have a Prism to keep it alive. We have a massive amount of Stalkers available for Creator. He's trying to take a fourth base behind this, but no, Solar is here to stop him.
And it only takes a handful of roaches to cancel a base when the rest of the Protoss army is out in the middle of the map, like we see.
Ooh, and Creator, he even slips up a little bit. The Immortal is going to be going down. The fourth base is denied. Creator is racing back home as Solar is looking to beat him there.
And he has been able to beat him by a hair. But even though Creator has lost the Immortal, even though he is still starving a little bit when it comes to his income, his army supply is starting to get back on... It's starting to become equivalent to Solar. In fact, I would say that it's even higher, considering how roach-intensive Solar's army is right now.
Yeah.
Colossus are on the way. Thermal Ants is about to finish up in the next 15 seconds or so. This is getting better for Creator as long as he can, as long as he's able to expand and actually have an economy that can sustain his army.
That's the thing. Like, Creator needs a 4th base desperately, and we do see Solar was staying on 4 bases for quite some time. We do have a 5th on the way. Solar's going to be checking the southern base location. Does see that nothing is there. Doesn't have eyes on the left-hand side of the map.
For now. Okay, actually, that's, yeah. Creator's doing a pretty good job of zoning the army away from that base as well, without making it too obvious that, he's protecting a base over in that location. But I guess Solar will be checking pretty soon regardless. Will be rotating around regardless.
Oh, exactly. We just see Creator is going to be looking to defend his fresh 4th base. Solar rocks up. He does get eyes on it, but can he stop it? The Banelings are rolling on forward, but the force fields do slow him down.
Slow him down by a ton. Most of these Banelings actually get wiped out by the Colossus, and the Colossus are starting to fall to the Roaches, but the Stalkers are still standing strong. A couple of reinforcing Colossus are on the way. Huge Stasis Ward catches an insane amount of Banelings and a couple of Roaches as well.
Yeah, because that Stasis Trap, Solar is being forced all the way back. His army across the map wasn't able to do too much at all. He does get 2 Colossi, and he was able to reset the sentry count. But we have warped in additional sentries here for Creator. He does have a couple of force fields available as well. Solar has to remax.
Yeah, and can he do it? Well, he's got to try, but Creator has so much momentum going his way right now. He doesn't have that many robo units, which is something that does worry me a little bit when it comes to Creator's army. In fact, one of his Colossus almost gets exposed. Banelings are starting to crash in as the Colossus were a little bit preoccupied with the Roaches. There's a pretty good concave coming out from Solar, but I still think that Creator's army is good enough and strong enough to stand its ground like so. There
we go. We see an aggressive Blink on forward here. We're diving on top of the Roaches. We're diving on top of the Ravagers. GG gets called, and Creator will take game number 1.
Forced to make a couple of adjustments here because of the more assertive and the more pressure-based style of Solar, but in the end, he is still finding success as the Protoss hipster.
Yeah, there was a moment there where Creator, it looked like he was in quite a bit of trouble, not gonna lie. Especially when it came to the first push, the very first push at his 4th base, where he only had a single Immortal and it did go down. But alas, he was able to survive long enough. He was able to reinforce it with his Stalkers. And yeah, Creator was respecting Solar quite a bit more. He didn't rush into... he didn't rush into... Oh, I'll rejoin.
Yep.
Didn't rush into that 4th base too haphazardly either, as we just make sure we get everyone in here. It's all good.
Yep. Our players, they are eager. Solar is the host, and yeah, you know that after a loss like that, he is 100% eager and enthusiastic about turning that around and redeeming himself a little bit.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's very understandable. Like, losses can be rough, and more often than not, the players, they just want to get back into that game. They want to, make up for their losses as well. But that was a pretty intense game 1.
Yeah, Creator ended up winning it in the end, but like you said, there were plenty of moments that there were plenty of moments where he definitely gave Solar an opening. It's just a little unfortunate that it took a while for Solar to really try to get through and ram his way through these openings.
Yeah, Creator, he was pretty all in as well. Towards the end of the game, I think he had like almost half the worker count as Solar. Like, his 4th base was so delayed. He was contained to 3 bases for so long. He didn't really have the best economy, but he did have the army, and as a result, he's up 1-0 in the series.
Indeed, but now we are on pretty much the exact opposite map here of Altitude. This and Neo-Humanity are pretty much the smallest maps in the current map pool, and over here in the top left-hand corner map, spawning all the way in the top left-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have our blue Zerg player coming down from the land of Korea. He is going to be representing On-Side Gaming, OSG. Voted almost unanimously by all of the other GSL players to be the most likely to have been a troublemaker as a kid. He is Solar.
Very cheeky, very cheeky. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Dragon Scales, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Team Abydos. Currently up 1-0 in this best of 3 series. It is Creator.
Although if my memory is right, Sol himself voted for Creator as most likely to be a troublemaker as a kid.
You love to see it. You love to see it. The bands are real.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't pick Dark. I would say Dark is.
I think 1 or 2 players picked Dark. I want to say Kumiho said Dark, but almost everybody's. There were like 3 people who didn't say Solar, excluding Sol himself. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Aye. I'll always remember back in the Pro League days, it was Dark and. I don't know if Dark had any influence on Dream, but both Dark and Dream, they were the 2 more angsty players in Korea.
Yeah. They were the edgy ones.
Yeah, they were not afraid to speak their mind and, you know, even trash talk a little bit every now and then. Yeah.
SK Telecom, man. How do they simultaneously have players like Dark, who is like the biggest trash talker in all of Korea, and then also have players like Sue, I guess. It was like and Classic, who are like the least, the most like whatchamacallit, the most like respectful players out there.
Yeah, exactly. So they just cared about the quality of the players, you know, back in the day. And
at Rain at one point.
Yeah, true. Oh my
Sick.
god. Yeah. I mean, enough said. They had Rain.
Yeah, they had Rain. You know,
best player in the world.
That's best player to have a grace. Yeah, have a touch his keyboard.
There you go, mate. There you go. As we are getting
Brute War and StarCraft 2.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You know, it's been a while since we've spoken about Rain. It's been a while. Been a hot minute.
Yeah. Well, it's a very dry season over here.
It's true. It's very true. We need to get wet. And speaking of getting wet, we have Creator once again going for his Stargate opener oracles on the way as well. Nothing too crazy here, but he has a little bit of leeway. He has some freedom. As you were saying, Dragon Scales is a much smaller map. The rush distance is shorter as well, so it can lead in favor of aggression.
And already we're already seeing Creator have a lot more success here with his initial couple of adepts here on Dragon Scales. You know, it took a lot shorter to get across the map, and it did mean there were a handful of fewer Zerglings to really try to threaten them.
Yeah, exactly. And once again, 2 games in a row, Creator, he's going to be going an Oracle into Void Rays. So I'm curious if he's going to mix things up when it comes to what comes after the Void Ray. And never mind. It is still going to be that Oracle. But I'm sure Creator, he just loves keeping his opponent in the dark, denying all this vision, denying all this scouting, and making sure that his opponents are always second-guessing themselves.
Should have been a fleet beacon, is what I'm inferring from your critique there. But yeah, I guess if it ain't broke, you don't really need to break it. Creator hasn't faced any resistance really to this style, this Oracle into Void Ray into more Oracles. But hang on, this is a bit of a deviation. It's actually getting a 3rd Oracle.
Yeah, we do have that 3rd Oracle on the way for Creator, so I'm sure he's hoping that maybe Solar thinks that it would only be 2 Oracles and he would skip out on maybe some of those spores. There is no spore in the natural base as the Oracles are headed in that direction. They will be able to get a couple more drones.
Quite a number of more drones. Yeah, great target firing coming out from Creator. Really nice juggling as well. I say juggling, it's more like bouncing here with these Oracles. Solar was forced to retarget quite a number of times here, so Creator's actually ahead when it comes to the worker count.
And it's not stopping, by the way. The Adept Shaded once again, and 10 workers go down. Looking at the units lost, 14 in total. I'm getting a little bit of deja vu. It was last week I casted Solar versus Classic, and game 2 it ended in like the first 10 minutes because Classic just tore Solar apart. It was crazy.
I vaguely remember that. It wasn't pretty at all, but Solar, he is still trying to rebuild as best he can. A little bit awkward having this Void Ray all the way across the map. It almost got the Queen, but instead the Queen got it. The Queen got the Void Ray.
Void Ray got, there we go. It was dragged in range of the Spore Crawler. Meanwhile, Solar's going all in. He is waddling his Queens across the map. He's cutting workers at 41. He may be losing more drones, a lot more drones actually, but does he really care? Because he's just making nothing but roaches and lings.
Evidently not. Evidently not, as he is going all in. Creator poked the bear a little bit too much. He's scrambling to get his defenses up and running. He has a shield battery, and another one is on the way. He has 2 shield batteries, actually, over here, but what are the units that are going to be able to take advantage of that? One Stalker.
Ooh, some solid force fields, but we got us around. The Immortal is going to be going down, a very expensive loss here for Creator. The site defense is still on the way. The overcharge may be a bit premature. There isn't really that much to overcharge as the natural is being broken.
Yeah, Biles are starting to land as the Lings do get a full surround on top of these Immortals. Ling count is starting to get thinned out, as is the Ravager count, but there's still plenty more where that came from. Solar has stopped droning, like you mentioned, and he's doing nothing but holding down the Z key and rallying them all the way across the map. One more Immortal pops out, which is super, super important, as the pylon will not go down somehow.
Wow. 3 HP. 3 HP on that pylon. The Robo stays powered, and Creator didn't lose that many workers, and he could afford to lose more because, again, Solar, his economy is crippled, and Creator, he's holding.
He takes the series 2-0. GG. GG, very well played here by Creator. I didn't even notice until the end there that he was actually making a lot more oracles than I thought he was, and they absolutely came in clutch, saving that pylon right at the very end. Dude, I cannot imagine the... I'm just gonna say it. If I was in Solar's shoes right there, I would have flipped my desk after seeing that pylon live. I would have just thrown my head into my keyboard there because, oh man, if that pylon went down, I think realistically Solar would have been able to keep that push going. He would have known, okay, there's no more robo production, no more Immortals that can pop out for quite some time. I can still try to keep going. I can still try to get more economic damage and then maybe macro my way out of this situation, but that was such a clutch defense here for Creator. One that he almost didn't have by the time Solar was across the map. He was really scrambling to get his units in position, to get his stack defenses. He even popped his battery overcharge a little bit prematurely, like you mentioned. That game could have gone so far in the other direction, but instead, Creator just continues to dominate the matchup.
Yeah, that was such a close game. My heart bleeds a little bit here for Solar. I mean, he was going all in, but a lot of that harassment really did impact his overall ability to produce units as well. Because he had lost so many workers, that means the all-in was even that much weaker. He had less resources to make Lings, less resources to make Roaches as well. And despite that, it did look as if he broke the natural. It looked like he had busted on through. He'd gotten some great kills on Immortals. But those oracles that you mentioned, they were the MVPs. They were not just killing Lings, they were target firing and focusing down all the Ravagers as well. It was very impressive how Creator was able to just recover from such a terrible position after losing like 2 Immortals for free. Like the Immortal
Pretty
control
much,
was quite brutal there, but the oracles, they came in clutch.
I was ready to call those force fields absolutely genius, but in the end, it ended up kind of funneling Roaches and Lings onto the Immortals. So, yeah, maybe not, but yeah, like you said, those are some extremely expensive losses that Creator sustained. And it's not like he had a lot of units to work with at the start of that game, but yeah, I guess economically he was just so sound and so stable that he knew that as long as he was able to take out the Ravagers, keep his Robo facility powered, he could afford to lose those 2 immortals and also afford to lose a couple of probes as well.
Yeah.
And just get his way into the next victory. And with that, I mean, the curse was broken regardless of who won the other quarterfinals. With this victory here for Creator, we would have either gotten a PvP or a PvT, but now we're finally getting a non-Protoss and non-Zerg player. Oliveira took out Classic 2-0, which I guess should be too surprising. I guess should be too surprising looking back at, Oliveira's form and specifically his TVP, but there's definitely been a lot of hype behind Classic these past couple of months. I was kind of that big cheerleader for Classic in these past couple of weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I am still surprised that he got taken out 0-2 by Oliveira here. And now he's going against a second Protoss player in our first semifinals of the evening. We can get some predictions going.
I completely agree with that sentiment as well. Like, I do think that Oliveira 2-0 in Classic is actually an upset. I do think that Oliveira, he isn't in that IEM championship form right now. He has been punished a little bit by the WTL organizers as a result. They've been very harsh on his rankings because he hasn't been, as dominant as he once was.
You got to be harsh on your eldest.
It's true. It's true.
That way the younger ones can have an example.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And yeah, Classic has been on fire recently. It's very, very impressive to see Oliveira take him down 2-0. I think recently Classic even beat Cure, right, in Kung Fu Cup.
He did.
Yeah, like Classic is so in form. But apparently
Cure, like, the night before Cure went to the finals of GSL.
Exactly. So yeah, it just goes to show, like, hey, you can't sleep on Oliveira. He may not be winning every tournament he signs up to, but he's still a very terrifying opponent, a very respectable opponent.
You say that, but he did just win ESL Asia.
True.
ESL Masters Asia, so
yeah.
And he's got some of that residual whatchamacallit still going.